Hi everyone, nice to have you here. I'm Khalid. And in this video, I'll be discussing the astronomical and astrological background of the new moon slash total solar eclipse in Sagittarius that is going to happen on the 14th of December at 4:16 p.m. Universal Time, which also happens to be 4:16 p.m. UK time for those of you living in the UK. And this video is intended as a companion introductory video to go along with the Astro Tarot reading that the Pomegranate Grove did for, I should say, about this new moon slash solar eclipse, covering all of the 12 zodiac signs, offering advice for anyone thinking of manifesting something, trying to do something with this very important and powerful celestial event. Right, so why is it so significant? All right, so in the first place, so solar eclipses, they aren't that uncommon. Solar eclipses tend to take place 2 to 4 times every year, and a total solar eclipse tends to take place once every 18 months, okay? But for the purpose of moon work, right? So drawing on the energy of the moon to manifest new things or to expel from your life things that totally they serve you no longer. The solar eclipses and lunar eclipses can be thought of as respectively supercharged new moons and supercharged full moons, right? They become like portals of energy that are like wide open, right? So the energy coming from the sky has a really vast volume at these times. So there's a lot of potential for you to manifest what you want, provided it's pretty focused, provided your intention remains really focused, because there is a kind of degree of chaos in that energy in any eclipse, and the more exact it is, the more total, the more intense and sort of chaotic you can expect that energy to be, which is why many moon workers advise waiting sometime after the exact moment of the conjunction to do the moon work, right? So yeah, so as long as your intention is pretty well defined and in line with the specific energetic possibilities of that solar eclipse new moon or lunar eclipse full moon, I would say you're in a good position to get what you want, right? But to understand what the specific potential is for this particular new moon solar eclipse, is to understand what that potential is, we need to look at where it's placed by sign, okay? And if we want to get even more personal and specific, we will need to look at where it falls within your own birth chart, okay? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you just so we can start discussing a a tangible representation of the nodes, right, and the eclipses that explains their relationship to each other. Okay. 1 second. Here we go. Right. All right. So you can see here a really lovely diagram that explains why we have full moons that are not lunar eclipses, new moons that are not solar eclipses, full moons that are lunar eclipses, and new moons that are solar eclipses. And basically, it boils down to this. Right. So the moon's orbit around the Earth is actually not occurring on a flat plane that is at the same level as the plane of the orbit of the Earth around the Sun. Actually, it's occurring at a tilt of 5 degrees with respect to the orbit of the Earth around the Sun. A little more than 5 degrees. If I'm not mistaken, it would be 5 degrees, 19 minutes, okay? So eclipses are only possible when the line of alignment between the Sun, the Moon, and Earth is exact. And that is only possible when the Moon is conjoined with, or as they say in astrology, conjunct, either the north or the south node. And these nodes are very simply the points where the moon's orbit around the Earth intersects the Earth's orbit around the Sun, okay? So in this diagram, these intersection points, these nodes are indicated by the green stars right here. And the difference between the north and the south node is simply that the north node is the point of intersection that the moon reaches as it's going up along its slightly tilted orbit around the Earth, while the south node is the point of intersection that the moon reaches as it's going down its elliptical orbit around the Earth. That's pretty much it, okay? So for an eclipse to happen, it really doesn't matter which node the moon touches at the time of the eclipse. It could be the south node, it could be the north node, right? What matters is the alignment. So what's making this new moon in Sagittarius also become a total solar eclipse is the conjunction between the Sun, the Moon, and the South Node. Okay. Right. So this is how eclipses work, astronomically speaking, what their connection is to the nodes. Right. Right. So here we have a chart that I actually drew up for the same moment of the exact conjunction by degree and minute between the Sun and Moon on the 14th of December. Okay. And I did this basically to show us what the different manifestation possibilities could be, depending on where that conjunction is happening in anyone's chart. Okay, so you could argue that this new moon eclipse is going to be particularly impactful, and it might carry the widest range of possibilities for those with their sun or moon or ascendant rising sign degree in Sagittarius, or other planets in Sagittarius, especially if we're talking about one of the personal planets like Mercury, Venus, Mars. However, you could equally say that wherever Sagittarius is in your chart, meaning whichever house in your chart is the Sagittarius whole sign house, that house is going to be impacted by this new moon solar eclipse, because the sun and moon, even if they're not in that house in your chart, the sun and moon and south node are transiting that house in your chart in a conjunction. Okay, so the new moon possibilities and the solar eclipse possibilities would be activated for you in the Sagittarius whole sign house in your chart. Okay, so for the chart that I drew up, it's for this hypothetical baby who gets born at the exact moment of the new moon and of the moon sun conjunction on the 14th of December. So for that mystical child, the conjunction is occurring in the sixth house. Okay, and the sixth house is, I mean, all the houses are umbrellas, but the sixth house is an umbrella for everything relating to the maintenance of the body, right? The body in terms of itself, as in maintaining the health of the body so it can just function better. And also the body as it navigates kind of more tangible material environments that it has to, so that it can keep its means of living, right? Yeah, it can safeguard its living basically. So that's why the work environment, like the immediate work environment and strategies for kind of, you know, navigating your relationship with your coworkers, that also, all of that falls under the umbrella of sixth house significations. Okay, we can also include in that routines, daily routines, the way you manage your time, the way you do or do not exercise, okay, your diet, all of that goes into the sixth house, okay? What are the manifestation possibilities for a new moon solar eclipse occurring in a sixth house Sagittarius, okay? So to get the kind of fuller picture, we need to also take into account that the node making this eclipse possible is a south node, not a north node. And the difference between a south node and the north node in terms of moon work is comparable to the difference between a full moon and the new moon in terms of moon work. Okay, so a south node, the south node is all about, you know, those parts, those areas of life that that you've already kind of accumulated enough experiences in, to the point that getting more experience in them, staying in them, wouldn't serve you. It would hinder your growth. Okay, and by the opposite token, the north node signifies the opposite of that. What you actually need to attract into your life, all the types of experiences and challenges that you need to attract into your life, so that you can grow outside your comfort zone, step outside your comfort zone and grow into a fuller person, okay? So this conjunction is between the south node, the moon, and the sun, okay? So the south node element makes it particularly favorable for kind of, yeah, for eliminating from your system things that no longer serve you, which is really interesting because that configuration doesn't neatly complement the new moon archetype of moon work. So the new moon is all about attracting new things rather than releasing things, right? So basically, there's a challenge here for any moon worker, which is to combine the potential of both of these energy windows, let's say, okay, or energy channels is a better, maybe better choice of words. Okay, so one way, for example, I was thinking of this, like, what would I do if I had this configuration in my chart, right? What would I do if I had Sagittarius as my whole sign, as my sixth, sorry, pronunciation is terrible, sixth whole sign house, if I had that in my chart, right? So because the sixth house covers all of these kind of more tangible physical maintenance issues that I mentioned earlier, I would focus on kind of eliminating from my mind, from my kind of daily thought patterns, anything that's hindering me from attaining the body ideal, the ideal body image that I've been nurturing in my imagination space for however many years, right? So there you have like one example of how you can combine the significations of elimination and attraction. Okay, it's not impossible. It just takes some creative work. Okay, and the reason that I wove into the mix, like this, you know, the psychological dimension, is that when you have a new moon, what's happening visibly and in terms of astrological symbolism is that the moon, which represents astrologically the emotional landscape, the subconscious self, the instinctive needs, is occluding or covering the sun, which represents astrologically the conscious self, the mind, also the self as it interacts with external events and people, and therefore a more social version of the self, kind of like the ascendant, you could say, right? So the moon is occluding, the astrological moon is occluding the astrological sun. So therefore, issues of like psychology, like the inner landscape and inner challenges become more prominent during a new moon. Okay. So because it is a new moon that involves the moon including the sun, and because it is a solar eclipse new moon, right, which really magnifies the energy of a regular new moon, right? You can think of it as a sort of a supercharged new moon, right? So for these reasons, I would recommend kind of drawing an intention that's really focused on a radical type of internal change, a radical type of psychological change, right? Not something that can happen overnight, but something that could really use that, let's say, I don't know if hand of providence should be the word I choose, but like, you know, it's just like, you know, a particularly generous helping hand from the astrological sky. So yeah, it's an objective that is challenging enough to potentially need a boost from the energies in the sky, right? So yeah, try to identify this a similar kind of objective, and yeah, make that the focus of your manifestation for this new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius, right? That's my recommendation, at least a sincere one, based on what I know about new moons and solar eclipses and the South Node. Okay, but equally as important for you is to look at where this conjunction is taking place in your chart, right? So if it is happening, if Sagittarius is in your chart, the 10th whole sign house, then the most favorable type of intention to focus on would be one that revolves around career, reputation, social standing. Okay. Conversely, if Sagittarius is your, let's say, the third whole sign house in your chart, then the most favorable way for you to use this new moon solar eclipse energy is to manifest something related to your relationship to your siblings, or to communication, or to learning, or short-term projects, right? Or your immediate environment, okay? Like your physical environment. Yeah, so so basically, pull up your chart, see where Sagittarius is in your chart to have an idea of where this alignment will be taking place and what it could mean for you if you decide to make use of it. And of course, all of us are here to help you out. This is what we do. We are astro tarot readers as well as tarot readers, and we love doing this. As you would already know, if you've even seen some of our astro tarot videos, we really get a kick out of this, and it's just really incredible. I mean, every time it's like a revelation, it's really incredible to see how combining the tarot with the astrology, how much it can reveal, right? How many the kind of layers of nuance and detail it can add to any answer to an astrological question, right? All right, so I'm going to stop sharing now. And I just want to say thank you for listening to me up to this point. And I hope that you found it useful, and I hope it'll get you excited, not only about watching our Astro Tarot reading for the new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius, but I hope it got you excited for the event itself, and I hope it's gotten you thinking about the best way for you to make use of this new moon total solar eclipse. Okay. Yeah, and like I said, if you need any help kind of figuring out how to kind of align the potential of this celestial event coming up on December 14th with the specific, let's say, with specific potentials in your chart, feel free to drop any of us a line. Our site is www.thepomegranate.grove.com, and we are on YouTube as well. You'll find our channel just by searching up the same name. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please subscribe to our newly established, I'm very excited about it, newsletter that will keep you updated about everything we're releasing every week. And we have something lined up every week, every month, all the year. So Right. So enjoy the Astro Tarot reading, and I really wish you the best for this upcoming new moon solar eclipse, and the best of everything. Bye.